this guy stopped me at a stoplight. He was like, hey, Goggins, why am I not getting better? I'm a big-time goal setter. I run half Ironmans. I run half marathons. I go for that new promotion at work. Why am I not getting better? I asked him a question. Do you have fear of not reaching those goals? He said no. Because that's your problem. You're setting goals you know you can reach. And when you do that, that fear, that insecurity, that doubt, that's where you grow. He's not getting that. You must always set goals that you think you cannot achieve. And in there you get better. Stay hard.
And I had two options. To either be that 300-pound guy who sprayed for cockroaches and made $1,000 a month, and at 24 years old, knowing when I'm 50 fucking years old, I can reflect on this and think about what guy I never became, or I can totally just sack it up and fail and fail and fail until I succeed. And this restaurant got full of cockroaches and rodents and everything else. And I sat there and said, this is my life. I said, this is my life. You are exactly who the this is it. And I said, this ain't gonna be it for me. So in that restaurant, I quit my job, left my canister in that restaurant, my spray canister, got back in my Ecolab truck, and I went home. And I started working out like somebody, I became the most obsessed person on the planet Earth. My instinct was, we gotta go out there. Anything that was horrible in my life that I would normally say no, that was inhumane to most people, I had to go do it. And I started callousing my mind at this point in my life. And I lost the weight. I lost the weight and I went back to recruiter. I got into that class and I went through 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks in 1 year. Only guy to ever be in 3 Hell Weeks in 1 year, to my knowledge. The first one I didn't make it through, the next 2 I did. And that I just didn't, I didn't stop anymore from there. And I started realizing through this process that the mind is what you created. And I started opening different doors that I didn't think were even there, that I didn't think even existed. And the more doors I opened up, the more I started realizing that my potential is damn near endless. And it changed my whole mindset. So I went from David Goggins and I created Goggins. And that journey is a priceless journey that is hard for me to even explain to people because it sounds so quick and easy. Like I lost this weight and I went through 3 Hell Weeks, I went to Ranger School, went to Delta Force Selection, whatever it is. It was brutal. It's a brutal journey every day. And if everybody goes, well, are you happy? If anybody knows my life story, and I'll try to give you just a snippet of it, where I'm at today is in front of Joe Rogan telling you my life. To get through where I became, to get through where I'm at now, there's nothing but pride I have for myself that I can't really show people. Because I have this face that they see like, are you happy? What's wrong with you? I'm driven, I'm obsessed. And that's what you see. That's it.
People need to hear this story. This is an exciting story for people because there's a lot of people out there that feel trapped and they feel stuck and they feel like they can't do anything and this is who they are. You're a guy who felt that exact same way, but figured out how to not be that person and be a person that you would admire.
So I started seeing myself very differently than the average human being. I was like, hang on a second. I have something they don't have. And that's when I started to develop these things through working out. It was this great, never-ending work ethic. And through work ethic, I developed self-esteem.
Now, is this something that you learned? Is this something you learned yourself from exercise yourself? Or is this something you had read or heard about? Like, what made you equate doing this and doing these difficult things physically to mental toughness, to being, this is the discipline that you need in order to get your life out of the situation you're in?
So I never read anything. You know, I could barely read, you know, so right. I wasn't reading back then. I watched a lot of movies and I was really big into visualization. And I always equated working out to struggle. And I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I got to start facing the struggle and I got to be mentally strong for the struggle. So that's where I started coming up with I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for like to lift 400 pounds. And I found out on my own pretty much, is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. Start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. It's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life.
It's a crazy thing to figure out, though. It's like that you figured it out, and you didn't just figure it out, you embraced it. Like when you were talking about your senior year of high school, when you're talking about your mirror being your accountability mirror, like you had a radical shift. Mm-hmm. Like you just decided to not be a fucking loser, right, and to start tightening up and start holding yourself accountable and get ready for things.
So I had this my whole life. I mean, I don't know if people believe in God or what. I don't care what you believe in. There's been this unrelenting voice in my head. We all have this voice. It's the right or wrong voice. And a lot of times that voice guides us into comfort. And my voice guided me into comfort a lot. But I had this other voice I heard my whole life saying, hey, what are you doing? No, man, we got to go over here. We got to go over here to that rock pile over in the corner where nobody's at. That's where victory's at. We're over there in that corner. So this voice was giving me all these answers. Now, I wasn't a real smart kid growing up, but I had this crazy voice in my head saying, over there is where the answers are. And I didn't want to listen to it because over there was pain. Over there was me looking in the mirror. Over there was me being accountable for all these things I went through my life. Even though people put them on me, it's now mine to own. And I didn't want to go over there by myself, but I had to. And this voice was guiding me there. It's God, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it was in me.
Do you think that's just what when you separate yourself from your ego and what your insecurities and all like if you were giving yourself advice, you would say that's what the thing is to do. So do you think that's what it was, like your subconscious, or you stripped away from all the bullshit when you couldn't lie to yourself because it's a voice in your head?
That's exactly it. It's exactly it.
Because it knew.
It knew. I was a character. I was trying to find myself through a character. I was making different hairstyles and sagging my pants, and I was off. Man. I was a clown. I was a clown, and I was like, this is not where you're supposed to be in life, man. And it's ugly when you look in that dirty mirror, and you're trying to do a new hairstyle to go to school. I had a hairstyle one time where I shaved the top of my head. You know how old men had the hair like leaving their head?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to school with hair on the side of my head and in my back, and I shaved the whole top of my head. I went to school like that, and then I had like.
What did the kids say?
I don't remember what they said, but I was just a funny dude. So that was my thing. I was the funny dude that came into school, like Criss Cross came out when I was in high school. So my pants were backwards. I said, I don't have my pants backwards, sag down past my ass, shirt turned backwards with a toothbrush in my mouth with the reverse part. The reverse part is your head is shaved and you have some hair on top. Just a little piece of hair versus like a part through hair. The part was on a bald head. So it was just, I would sit at home instead of studying. I would think about what can I do to impress the mother at school.
Wow.
And that became my life. And it's a long road to hoe to get to the guy who says, now, you don't ever smile on any podcast. You look so serious. I look at that I'm like, you motherfuckers have no idea who I am, where I've come from to get here today.
You could have probably been an entertainer. Like you probably, because you were doing all that kind of shit.
I got some jokes, Joe. I got some jokes, Joe.
I bet you do.
So what people read in this book can't hurt me. It's a sad story. It's a horrible story. It's a tragic story. It's a story that made me who I am today. But you have to learn to laugh at yourself too. Once you go through that shit. So there's a lot of parts in there where there's a lot of me against a lot of white people, and I have a routine that I won't do. So people who hire me to speak, I'm not going to do the routine. I often do it sometimes. Think about it. I was a 36 black guy to go through SEAL training. Okay.
Out of how many people?
Out of probably looking at probably 11, 12 to make it through. Probably 13,000 SEALs. I was probably the 36. I was the 36 black guy to make it through, and over since like the 1940s. You're looking at almost 70 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So do the math on that. So there's not a lot of black guys, and so I take that and I make a nice comedy skit out of that. You know, like the first time they tied me up and threw me, it's called drown proofing.
Yeah.
So I'm negative buoyant as hell, you know?
Me too.
Oh.
I'm related to that big time.
Yes, you're one of the few white boys, man, that are negative buoyant. You sink like a rock.
Like a rock.
And that's hard. So imagine them getting your hands and feet, tying your ass up and throwing you in the water and say, swim. It was like throwing a cat in the water with fuck on him. So I was just losing my fucking mind. So it's so many things I had to get over, you know, and I found humor. I found humor in my suffering.